hockey. Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And what a day of hockey that just was. Absolutely incredible. And yes, it's capped off as Jessi Pierce celebrates by waving the American flag with an incredible Sweden U.S. game in which Quinn Hughes scores the winning goal to give the U.S. a 2-1 win, third OT game of the day. 3:27 into the OT. The U.S. was taking it to Sweden. There was a little doubt in my mind that unless it was a complete fluke goal, the U.S. was going to win 3-3 because they were superior. But where do we start with this game? Let's start with Quinn Hughes, okay, you guys? Let's start with this because it sort of unfolded in real time on the telecast, and we have seen this before since he joined the Wild. But it starts with everybody is gassed, right? It's 3-on-3. Everybody is tired. And the bench is like, hey, let's change. Quinn, come off. And Quinn's like, no, which is I absolutely love, which, by the way, he has done on several occasions. Like, I go back to a game when I think it was Age and I were in the suite a couple weeks ago. I think it was against Calgary. Yep. And Spurgeon was supposed to come on for Quinn. And Quinn just does not come off the ice. And finally, Spurgeon just like sits down and is like, F it. And so he not only stays on the ice, but for the second, basically part of that shift, he generates a grade A. And this time he scores. This was, to me, and I know it was 2-1 because in part the goaltending was fantastic. Jessi, we'll start with you, but this to me is one of the most fun. You get these games occasionally, certainly in the playoffs or a tournament like this, but nonetheless, you talk about a day that lived up to expectations. And yes, Jess can relax now is correct. What do you have to say about your questioning that the United States would even medal with this team?
Not gonna lie, I was preparing the "well, I was right" speech. Again, I have never wanted to be more wrong about anything in my entire life, right? Like you guys know offline, I am so anxious. I want this so bad. I want US Canada in the final. I really, really do. But anything can happen. And we've seen that today. Today has been chock full of fun hockey top to bottom. Canada, nobody ever would have thought that Canada was going to get pushed to the brink of elimination into overtime by Czechia. Love to see it. And then you knew this game was going to come as advertised. It's so unfortunate that one of US and Sweden had to go home this early because this is a semifinal. This isn't a quarterfinal matchup. Yeah. Sweden has everything. It was a little kind of up and down rocky in a certain instances for Team Sweden throughout the prelims, right? And I think even for USA a little bit too, as we've well documented, there's been question marks kind of like, can they do this? Can they get through? How's the offense coming together? But that game against Germany again, made me feel a little bit better. You saw a little bit more. Connor Hellebuyck today did the damn thing. We love to see that. And Quinn freaking Hughes, you guys. I can't say it enough. I will continue to say it. I sound like a broken record. I am so happy he plays for the Minnesota Wild. The more I watch him all the time now here in St. Paul. We love to see it. And through these Olympic Games, he's absolutely tremendous. He's just phenomenal. He's just, I can't. I'm so excited. All right, it's good. The anxiety's been high. They won. They advanced. They move on.
You can tell, Jessi.
I know. It's crazy.
But the thing about this is after a few months of watching Quinn a ton, especially in person, this was a phenomenal performance and showing, but it's not surprising. Like he does this stuff all the time. Like nothing he did was like, oh my God, I wish I could see that in St. Paul. Like this was just, if this had been the guy who won a Norris Trophy and was still playing for the Canucks, I'd be like, oh my gosh, how do I not know more about Quinn Hughes? But I felt like this was, I'm not totally shocked by this. He's this good.
I mean, what a player. He after today is like an American hero. Like when's the last time, maybe the TJ Oshie shootout thing that I like watched a international American play on this sort of stage, and you're like, that guy is just a legend. Immediate, like into the history books for American hockey until at least the next game. Because who knows? Maybe they need something. The cardiac kids against Slovakia. Maybe they're going to need it in a gold medal game against Canada. But when you need an OT goal, who are you going to call? The Ghostbuster himself, Quinn Hughes. Just an insane display of defense. And the thing is, there was a great instance of Minnesota Wild on Minnesota Wild play. I think it was in overtime, where going into the offensive zone on the forehand, I thought we were going to see him do that kind of cut, pivot, and then like shift through a guy or two. But he locks up with 14 in yellow. Joel Eriksson Ek. And he goes toe-to-toe defense with, I mean, it was, if you're a Minnesota Wild fan, and I would assume that maybe 95%. I'm sure there's a few others that are just like looking to get in on this USA hockey atmosphere, but primarily we're a Minnesota Wild show. Who are watching that is like, oh my God, how lucky are we? It was just Minnesota Wild up and down the ticker all day long. Obviously, you had Wallstedt backing up Markstrom. Gustafsson, you know, I'm a little worried there. I'm maybe not super worried, but I'm a little worried based off the performance. But you had Matt Boldy, you had Quinn Hughes, you had Joel Eriksson Ek, Marcus Johansson. Still, congratulations on being an Olympian. But it was an insane day for Minnesota Wild hockey on an international stage. And we saw it capped off with Quinn Hughes being just this magnificent, remarkable, generational type of athlete, shrugging off the bench. No, I don't care that we've got some of the best guys in the world. I got more air in my lungs than I need, and I'm going to go out there, play another 45 seconds, and win this damn hockey game. Now they got Slovakia. You got to have to...
We can't let down.
The emotions that Jessi is feeling, I'm sure, is also somewhat in that locker room, but how do you now turn that back and find... And this is where playoff hockey, this is a great experience for the guys in the Wild. Quinn Hughes, Matt Boldy, you're going to have like that extra tank of you're on E. How can you get back to at least half tank to gear up and find that competitive level again? But unbelievable game. Quinn Hughes is fantastic.
May I petition that the National Hockey League, beginning immediately, goes to 3-on-3 OT in the playoffs? Because I don't think you're going to beat this team. Maybe Colorado could. But Hughes is so dominant there, and he can become, I mean, he is 5-on-5, Jessi, he's great offensively, but 3-on-3, he's an absolute force, because he basically plays forward and defense simultaneously. He doesn't tire out. That to me was a slice, and plus I also love this. 10 minutes, okay? 3-on-3, so we get the extra slice. That was... I thought just a great display. And this is why 3-on-3, I know some people don't like it, but it's so much fun. Because that high-end skill there on those two teams, it was so great. And at the end of the day, the reality is this. If you look at every skater on both teams, and both of those teams, two of the three, including Canada, that are made up entirely of National Hockey League players, I think of these two teams, Quinn Hughes, probably the best skater. Don't you?
Oh, without question.
Yeah, but I mean that's a lot of top end talent there too. But
right.
I think Quinn Hughes, just as far as not just north south, laterally as well, I think he is the best skater. I'm not saying including Canada because I'd have to think about that, but Sweden or the U.S., I'm pretty sure he's the best. His
edges are so fantastic. The way he escapes situations is just incredible. I saw him he got pinched once where it kind of bit him in the butt, but also I can't remember who he was with where they missed the puck as well. So the puck just ended up loose in the neutral zone, which was fine. But his ability to just generate and create and have that puck possession. You've heard John Hines talk about it here with the Minnesota Wild. It's insane. It is Quinsanity, if you will, right? Like it really, really is. Like I can't
Absolute Quinema.
I love it. Like there's the puns can go on. And the greatest thing is Bill Guerin brought him here to Minnesota. Like it's just still absolutely phenomenal to witness and what he does. And he does it again so effortlessly, it seems. Like it's not like he's out there gassed being on the even in that third period before the overtime when he was on the ice the entire time, he had how many minutes right per shift. It's tremendous. It's absolutely phenomenal. Top to bottom, you talk about 3-on-3 versus 5-on-5, however. That overtime would have been finished by the U.S. a lot quicker if you had kept it 5-on-5 because there was that juicy rebound off that Austin Matthews shot where I think if you had your 5-on-5 there, that's getting potted and put away, in my opinion. But who knows? I'm fine with either or. I'm fine with not having overtime as it involves the U.S. because it's stress. It's too much.
It was great, though. It's what made it fun.
It ended up fun. What if it went the other way?
You were thinking they wouldn't even win a medal.
then I'd have to say I was right, and
Well, I was going to say you sort of couldn't lose because if they had gotten bounced, you win because your hot take was right, and if they won, which they did, it's like, oh, okay, it's great. So I don't see why. Of all of the three of us, I think that you were in the catbird seat.
That's
not
good point.
AJ, not me.
I like that.
I was fully expecting a medal of some sort. And granted, it's not even guaranteed still because they could lose and then lose again.
Right.
But so Jessi, you hold on to that I was right speech for a little while longer. But
it's pretty late now in the ballgame, I think.
You got to assume Slovakia, very fine team. And now this is going to be a great chance for everybody to watch Samuel Levi.
Great again.
He was great again. He is looking to be the real deal, but now I would honestly think that this is a better matchup for them than even today. They looked great, and this is to my point from the other show we did. I think their play today was much more of what I think Bill Guerin envisioned when building this team, because for 58 minutes they were shut down defensive like you would not believe. The way they protected that middle area of the ice, the dangerous area of the ice right in front of Connor Hellebuck, was incredible. They were driving guys to low angle chances, low percentage shots were coming in from Sweden. Sure, you're going to give over the course of a hockey game a couple big chances, but for the most part, it was one major attempt, and then either it was a cover up by Hellebuck or it was clear to the wall. There wasn't that secondary attempt, that third attempt that you're seeing in some of these games. They played tremendous hockey, and that's where the build. And you know what? I'll give a couple flowers, really quick, because I still don't like him as a hockey player. But JT Miller had a few really key blocks tonight.
Huge blocks, and probably because he heard us calling him out for not blocking certain shots, right?
Thank you for subscribing to the show, JT.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, he did block 2. I believe that they were both, if I am correct on this, in the third period. I also am very glad, for the sake of the tournament, I'm actually glad that the U.S. won as a hockey fan, because they are a better team. Sweden struggled, and Sweden was better than how they played in the first couple games with Gus and goal. But when you watch that, and there's just the talent and the 3-on-3, I thought that the U.S., who outshot Sweden 6-rip in the OT, I thought the U.S. has a better product. Sweden, they're very, I don't know why, and they talked about this on the telecast, but number one, how much can you try to create from the perimeter, which is you got to go to the net. And the second is, and Olchek pounded this drum, but he's right. Philip Forsberg, what are you doing?
Right.
Dude, let me work with you. Shoot the bleeping puck. You're really, really good. You score a ton of goals. And look, I'm glad he didn't. But my point is, I so badly want, and we still are, each team having to win their next game, which is going to be Friday. Canada plays Finland in the morning, and then the U.S. plays Slovakia in the afternoon. So, but I so badly now just want to see the U.S. and Canada. That's the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing else. I don't care about feel good stories. As a kid, I thought it was great. Feel good story, right? The underdog. When Canada was in jeopardy of falling to Czechia, I'm like, oh my God, do not let this take place. I do not want to see that. I want to see the U.S. and Canada collide, because I think it's going to be a heavyweight, big time brawl in the good sense.
I think, going back to your original point about this game, U.S. versus Sweden, Sweden's coaching decisions on the way that they were utilizing their players was beyond. Why is Jesper Bratt not playing until the third period? You're just having them chill and hang out. I get Victor Hedman's injury kind of threw things in a loop, but that's been plaguing them throughout the course of this tournament. And in a lot of their instances, what are, just deploying different guys in different ways and just not being the smartest. And good for Sweden. They got good Jacob Markstrom too. I think the U.S. outshot them 30-19 through the first 2 periods, right? So the opportunities were there. Markstrom made some key saves, but I also think that was the dagger for Sweden. Their coaching decisions were kind of all over the place and did not make any sense at all, if in my opinion. But yes, now I need to see Canada and the US. And I will say, shout out to Slovakia, though. They have been a ton of fun to watch in this tournament. They are putting some respect. I remember talking to Marian Gabrick when he was here for the 25th anniversary celebration during a Wild game and asked him about Slovakia and, how excited are you? He built this rink to help try to grow the game in his very small town. But I went back and read his quotes this morning, and I don't think he thought they had any shot in hell to get as far as they have. He was like, well, yeah, but they're going to go up against Sweden and Finland and Canada and the US. And he was just kind of downplaying it, and still an uphill battle for them. But they've been a ton of fun to watch throughout this tournament. So I'm not, again, going to crown the US, but I love it. And then now having to see Canada, that I need it so bad. I watched the Canada-Czechia game with some of the Wild players in the locker room, and you could feel everybody just on edge. Like, what is going to happen here? Like, what if Canada loses this game? Like, incredible. I love that it was Mitchie who finished it for him too.
How about that too? Yeah.
Stuck on that, Toronto.
well, yeah. Well, but here's the thing. If you live in Toronto, are you mad at Mitch?
I think
you sort of can't be right now.
They're so conflicted, right? Like, this is your ex that maybe did something just so tremendous, but you pushed him out. You broke up with them, but now they're succeeding in all these ways.
And they brought you a Christmas gift, though.
They did. Like,
it's like they gave you a car.
I can't imagine. The thing is, their hate toward Mitch Marner, I never understood. Like, although Mitch is just really good at 3-on-3 situations. Like, he's good big time 3-on-3. You're right. I can see some frustration. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Good for Mitch. Good for Mitch.
It's the playoffs.
I don't know if Brock Faber got driven out of Minnesota for some reason and went to like Toronto, and then now he was the one that just scored that, for instance. Do you think Wild fans would be cheering? I think so. Like, you still have this weird, like, I'm going to go back to maybe not liking you as much in a week or two. But for right now, you've got USA on your chest. That's all that matters. I don't know. Toronto's media is a lot different than Minnesota's too. So.
Well, I think if the Wild had Faber for quite a few years and he didn't win the playoffs or produce, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Mitch is from the Toronto area. He more got driven out. I think, because it became such a fishbowl for him. So, like, I think he felt, I got to go. But now he comes back and scores this goal. But if I had told you guys at the start of this tournament a week and a half ago or so, if I had told you, okay, the goaltenders from the Wild organization are going to be Philip Gustafsson, and he's probably going to start for Sweden. Wallstedt, yeah, he's going. We thought he wouldn't play, and so far he is not, and he didn't because it's done for Sweden. And then Samuel, what's the pronunciation? Levi. Samuel Levi. And Samuel Levi is not only going to play, but he is going to get his team through to the semifinals with a 2-1 record, a 267 goals against average, a 932 save percentage. And by the way, he is in the bottom of the American Hockey League in GAA and save percentage. If I had told you Samuel Levi is going to be the best Wild goaltender at the Olympic Games, how quickly would you have had me checked by a doctor?
I would have called up Don and been like, how many beers has Judd been drinking? Has he been sipping on that sauce? Do we have a problem here,
it's
ma'am?
Only 11 a.m. How many has he hit so far?
It's true, though. I mean, think about this.
Yeah, it's wild, no pun intended, right? It's very curious. It's interesting. And again, weird. Sweden, it ain't weird. It's wild. And Sweden made the right decision, I think, in having Jesper back up today and having Gus take a timeout, right? Like, the proof is in the pudding. Markstrom got them to where they were at. It solidifies the importance of really evaluating that goaltending tandem come playoff time too, right? And seeing how that moves forward, I think, a little bit. I'm not going to mark Gus with a giant X and be like, all right, you're terrible. Now it's Wally's net and blah, blah, blah. Like, right. No, I think there was a ton of pressure on Philip Gustafsson heading in this, and he wanted it so bad, right? Like every Olympian does. So I'm curious to see how that manifests itself once they come back and what that tandem looks like. They've done a nice job at handling both of them. And I think Gus is going to find that groove again, but he might need a little bit of time coming off of this loss because that was his net that he lost.
Mm-hmm. I've got a question for both of you. Before I do that, though, I do want to say to the 600 now people hanging out with us here on a what is this? Is it Wednesday? I lose track of it.
And
Wednesday
it's
afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon, late
After
Wednesday afternoon.
A thrilling overtime win catalyzed by Quinn Hughes himself with the OT winner. Make sure, if you're just finding this for the first time or you've been watching and you have yet to subscribe, click that subscribe button. This is the brand new Just Hockey Show channel. We reached 2,500 subscribers earlier this week. Let's just bolster that right next to that next milestone at 3,000. That'd be awesome. So make sure you click like, hit subscribe, and all that stuff. But the question for you here, Judd and Jessi, is now of the 2 remaining games in the semifinals, Canada, Finland, USA, Slovakia, which upset is more likely? Finland beating the Canadians, who had to go to overtime today against a very plucky Czechia team, or Slovakia getting stonewalled by the AHL phenom himself, Samuel Levi, and being taken down by Slovakia?
Go ahead, Jess.
Why do I always have to go first? Why do I have to
I
make
can go
the
first.
harsh statement? I don't. Finland's been giving it their all throughout the course of the Olympics. I feel like that tank is run pretty dry, in my opinion. I feel Canada's going to come out being like, what just happened against that Czechia team? So there's zero mercy. Good news is,
Keep in mind, you
like
don't know if they have Crosby yet, right?
Right. I was going to say, I think John
don't think
Cooper
they
had
do.
said they didn't have an update. But it didn't sound severe anyway, right? At least Coop made it seem that way, but he also did say, I really don't know what it looks like. He sounds like Crosby kind of made the decision to not return because he didn't feel like he could help the team at all.
Yeah.
I would say then Slovakia is the potential upset. And I'm not just saying I love Team USA. Like, I don't want to say it that way. I love Team USA.
Yep.
Slovakia,
No, you want them. Slovakia won, and the U.S. now they can't medal like Judd thought they could. So, oh man, here's why I was right.
Exactly.
Here's why.
Well,
here's my soliloquy on why I was right.
Slovakia's got
Oh boy.
really good goaltending right now. But then also, I think they're going to have a real problem with Age. Help me out with his pronunciation.
Levi.
No. The Montreal Canadian. Young gun. Slavosky? Is that how we say it?
It's Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky.
That was close enough.
So
Just get
freaking
countries
good.
right. Don't worry about last names, Jessi. Last names are
I got
very
Czechia
hard.
and Latvia.
Latvia,
Yeah. No I.
There you go.
In the V.
I struggled with that for years with Gabrick's last name.
Really? See, Gabrick
My
seems
brain
crazy.
always went to Gaborik, and I'm like, why is it doing it? And I finally mentally got it's Gabrick.
Gabrick.
Like no O.
Yeah.
Like I took the O out mentally, but that's a tough one. Like I've got the same problem on stuff.
I can write it. I will never misspell it. I just pronunciation that's what ended my.
You were
career.
so close though.
I was really
Slavkovsky.
Slavkovsky. So good.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch.
Hey, he's great. Yes, he is.
I think he's a problem. Now the good news for Team USA, he's the one problem. If you can really shut him down, which as we've seen the defense be able to do, and even on the offensive lines, really good. But yeah, that's my lock-in.
I'm gonna go with age Jessi as well. And here's why. Like I think you get eliminated if you're Canada or the US by goaltending. So I'm gonna go with who I assume is the hottest. And Levi's been unbelievable. And it would be, I mean, my God, if he I don't think he's going to, but if he beats the US, we got some decisions right here to make about what you're going to do. But I think if I was to look at those two teams, Finland and Slovakia, I think I'm going to go with, not because I think that the US is ripe for like an upset. And these teams, you know what's been really impressive? Because I didn't expect this. These teams, these scores have been, I mean, they've been relatively close. Now, for instance, in pool play, Canada beat Czechia 5-rip, but it feels like those scores used to be like 9-1 or something, right? Like 5-0's not great, but it's not a complete atrocity. And then they played a really close game today. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with Jessi and say I think if you're gonna get upset or you're going to get beat, it's going to be goaltending.
Mm-hmm.
And Markstrom, shout out again, as Jessi said, shout out to Markstrom. He was outstanding, I thought, today.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. Which,
surprisingly great, right?
Well,
frankly, I mean, again, it goes back to what we had initially conceptualized was, Markstrom could be your third goaltender. And between those three, right, the way that Jesper had been playing, the way that Philip Gustafsson now is playing. So for Markstrom to kind of slide into that number 2 and then all of a sudden be like, you're the guy. He performed really, really well. Again, 30-19 being outshot and keeping that score a 1-goal game it speaks for itself, I think.
So age is, let's see if I can word this correctly. Is the Minnesota Wild's defense superior to Sweden's, and therefore Gustafsson is better here, but is Sweden's defense superior to the Devils, and therefore Markstrom is superior there? Because I've seen that, and I think we talked about that. Is the Wild just flat out better defensively than this Swedish all-star team? But I would say the Devils have been just a joke for what, 3 months now? 2 months? Mm-hmm. So did Markstrom actually thrive? Because he's like, oh, this defense is pretty good compared to the garbage I've been playing with in Jersey for the last 3 months or 2.5 months.
This is a great talking point, because do you think maybe like that shock? That shot. Oh, God.
That's what I do.
That's what I do. That's how I work the microphone, baby.
You're like,
doesn't feel good.
You're like JT Miller. You're just gonna get that call for the team no matter what.
I'm glazing myself. I'm gassing myself. That's what I'm doing. I'm gassing myself right now.
No, but this would explain a lot, honestly. If let's say that's the case, because that explains why you go from having this, cushy defense in front of you, and maybe the shift from there to international stage, and all of a sudden you have bigger chances being fired on you. You're not getting certain like shooting lanes getting taken up with that maybe at the Grand Casino Arena you're not normally having to worry about as often. So that's actually a really good point that I didn't think about. I never would have expected that. I assumed losing a guy like Jonas Brodin probably would have been a huge hit defensively just because of how good he is. But at the same time, I didn't think it was going to be this like catastrophic step down. So maybe Gustafsson just has it, and Wallstedt, I guess. We haven't seen him, so we don't really have the side-by-side comparison of play. But maybe it's just that big of a step down to where he wasn't prepared for how much more bulk of a work he was going to have to take on the Olympic stage, whereas Markstrom, he's in heaven. He's gone from New Jersey to, I can get used to this. I've got Erik Karlsson playing defense in front of me, and they didn't even have Victor Hedman today. Like, he got hurt in warm-ups.
He supposedly got hurt in warm-ups. That's what Team Sweden announced, and I guess I'm buying it. But to Jessi's point, their coach had such weird rotations and things. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure from a coaching standpoint that dude is all there. So
it's very peculiar. And you talked about it before the Olympics started. I think both you and Age did, Judd, where Finland and Sweden are so mechanical in the way that they coach teams and it's very similar from youth on up, right? So it's very different than what we see here. The European style of hockey in general is so different than what we're accustomed to here in North America. So there's their mythology and just the way that they operate. I don't understand it. And I don't know that I ever quite will. Because I think Sweden, again, on paper, great roster. Like you should. Lucas Raymond, my gosh, can we get him in a Minnesota Wild jersey?
No, we can't, but what a game.
I mean, he's part of the Iser plan.
I know he is. He was phenomenal. Let a girl dream, guys. Let a girl dream. Love it.
You're in the semifinals already. You got Quinn Hughes. What more can a girl want?
That's a good jumping point, though, for that trade talk, Minnesota Wild. I don't know about you all, but I have not been... my mouth hasn't been watering maybe as much as I was expecting it to at watching Vinny Trocheck play for Team USA. And granted, it's a different role than he probably would have here in a Minnesota Wild sweater, but one guy who I don't know if he's necessarily a guy that they could actually go get, but I also didn't think they could go get Quinn Hughes a couple months ago either. Jack Hughes has been a revelation. And I think the chemistry that I've seen between him and Quinn when they're on the ice together and just his playmaking ability makes me have something close to erotic hockey dreams about what he could do in between Matt Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov.
What's that trade, though?
That's the thing.
That's
Wallstedt in a lot. But with Levi, maybe it's not as big of a blow as we all are.
Same here, Levi carrying that cup. No one saw it coming. Game 7, carrying the cup, kissing that cup, and being as cocky as
Conn Smythe winner.
Just being condescending and being like, you thought I couldn't do this, didn't you, Pierce? Well, I just did it.
I did. I knew he, why? Because I spoke again at training camp. It lives in my head rent free. Him saying, none of these guys are hard to stop. And I was like, excuse me, who are you? Like,
And he was
child?
right.
Genuine. Like, can you
He
turn
was
around?
right.
Who are you again? I forget.
Yeah.
And he was 100% right.
I don't even think anybody had anticipated to talk to him, but he just kind of came in and we're like, oh, all right, we're going to talk to this guy here. And it was, love it. I love the attitude.
If he does come here and he needs a bank, Jessi Pierce,
Mhm.
where are you going to tell good old Sammy that he should do his banking?
I'm going to send him down over to North American Banking Company. You know, I'm going to say, hey, Sammy, let me tell you where to put those pennies and dollars. Never thought much about where I bank. I'm sure he didn't either until he started banking on that paycheck. North American Banking Company, you guys, has been absolutely tremendous to work with. They got the mobile app. They got the online. And when I want to speak to a person, go down to any of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Love it. Switching banks, easy with North American Banking Company. Go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com to learn more or visit a location near you. Again, 6 Twin Cities locations. They are member FDIC equal housing lender.
And if Sammy's got problems with his car, you know what? He's like, I drove all the way from Des Moines. My oil needs to be changed. Sports Dad, can I call you that? I'd be like, yeah, of course, Sammy. What should I do? I would say, Samuel, sit down and listen closely. I want you to go to Victory Tire and Auto because you know what they believe in? They believe in relationships, and their goal is to serve customers for the long term. Personalized, trustworthy, and consistent service. A family-owned business established right here in Minnesota back in 1997. Victory has an industry-leading 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty on all new parts and labor. Schedule an appointment at any of their 20-plus Twin Cities area locations. You just go to victorytireandauto.com. Tell them the Sports Dad sent you. This is what I would tell Sam. Tell them the Sports Dad sent you, and you're going to get $25 off any oil change service. That's right, $25 off an oil change. It's going to save you a lot. 22 locations right here in our fine state. Quality work, genuine care for all of life's miles at Victory Tire and Auto. Let's talk about Eriksson Ek's game more for Sweden today, because I did think it was impressive. Now, he did get banged up. In fact, I think he collided with Raymond late in the third period, and I was concerned. He stayed down. He got up. Hopefully he's fine. But I thought that his game today was sensational. And I also thought, to go back to the play that AJ talked about in OT, where Jules Eriksson Ek forced Quinn Hughes onto his backhand, I think that's a direct result of getting to practice against that guy a lot. And I think he knew exactly, because Quinn Hughes's tricks, I mean, he moves so quickly that I often think guys get surprised. Not just because he can move so quickly, but that dude can manipulate the puck. And I think Eriksson Ek practicing, and of course, Jessi, you're at a ton of those practices. I think Eriksson Ek getting to go against Quinn Hughes on a regular basis. But nonetheless, I thought if I had to pick 3 stars for Sweden, I would go Markstrom, Raymond, and I would probably go Eriksson Ek third. I thought he was really, really, really good, which is, again, a good sign for the playoffs, assuming he can stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we get to witness again nightly with Jules Eriksson Ek was now on full display for Sweden. I mean, you're reminded, I think on last JHS, that was non-Olympic related, we talked about who's the MVP of the Wild. Is it Kirill? Is it Boldy? Is it Quinn Hughes? Well, Jules Eriksson Ek is right there on that fringe, if not in that mix, because we know how important he is. We know how impactful he is. We've seen what this team becomes without a Jules Eriksson Ek. I think he still struggles at the dot. And it just shows you the need for a face-off focused centerman, because Team USA is plump full of them, and Jules Eriksson Ek going up against guys like that, it just doesn't match up. But that was his only area of struggle. He's still just a fantastic player. I loved the Boldy on Ek collision as well. Boldy throwing his body around there, just reminding Jules, like, hey, no line mates today, sir. 10 out of 10, Jules. It'll be nice to get him back in a Minnesota Wild uniform soon now.
It was nice of Team Sweden to It was
Yeah.
nice of Team Sweden to play a little homage to the Minnesota Wild. Starting off 3-on-3 overtime, what'd they do? They send out 14, Eriksson Ek for the faceoff. He wins it nice and clean, and what does he do? He skates back off the ice, heads to the bench. What a guy. They do need somebody, though, who's going to need to take more faceoffs, who can actually then probably stay out there a little bit longer. But Eriksson Ek's game, same with the Four Nations faceoff last year. And then now on the international stage. I think people that are watching these games consistently, looking at talented people left and right, all this stuff, it's easy to pick out, I think, the guys that flash and the guys that, wow, what a shot, what a pass. Wow, that guy is a great skater. It's not as easy to say, look at the nitty-gritty defense that this forward is playing, and he's doing that every single game. And I'm glad Eddie Olchuk made a point on the NBC broadcast, at least, to point that out, which is he does that on a nightly basis for the Wild. Mm-hmm. And this is a guy who battles injuries pretty often, but he grits through it. He grits his teeth and he battles through it. The spin zone here is that he gets a few extra days of rest and relaxation before they pick up with NHL play. So I know he doesn't want to hear that, and I would never go in that locker room and say, "Hey, you know what the good thing is? You can kick back and relax on that flight home now, and then really get acclimated back to North America." But that's the silver lining, at least for I think us and Wild fans, which is for him, a guy who we know throughout the season and everything like that always seems like something's going on with him. Just a couple extra days probably is going to do wonders. Because you look at what Matt Boldy had when he was out and they had to throw him on IR. He probably could have came back and was healthy after 3 games. He had that mandatory 4th. In the first game back, I think it was against Detroit at home. He looked like an animal going out there. And there's just that extra day to get back to 100%. It goes a long way, I feel like, for these guys, especially now, a very important stretch of NHL games coming up before the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the face-off thing. I believe that this tournament has been the official sign of this. The face-off deniers have lost. The analytics folks were like, you don't understand. Face-offs don't matter. You all overblow. You deniers have lost. This tournament again has shown exactly, and I'm not saying every neutral zone face-off, okay? But how many goals have we seen scored off of them? How many key draws in the defensive zone have been won or lost? If I had, and I don't too much, but if I had any questions about what's the value, just from a perception standpoint, from an eye test standpoint, what's the value of a face-off? This tournament, which is a playoff style, intensity, especially these games tournament, this tournament has answered the question. I don't see how you can say you watch the sport and downplay the importance of draws. It got hammered home again. I thought in this game, just the absolute importance, and this comes back to, of course, full circle. This is where the Wild desperately needs. I mean, it might be a Trocheck. They need somebody that can step in that dot and consistently win key faceoffs. I think this tournament has again proven that.
Are there people out there that don't believe it?
Age will tell you.
That's wild to me. That's one of the first things I ever learned in the intricacies of hockey was the importance of faceoffs. I was back watching the Matamidi Zephyr high school varsity team. They're like, this is important. I was like, why? Can't I just watch these dudes skate around? They're like, no, you need to do this. Nope. And I was like, okay. It's incredible to watch. Yeah, I mean, again, 25 years, there's never been a guy. Mikko Koivu, very good at the dot, right? But he's probably, who would you say is our best face-off specialist ever for the Minnesota Wild?
Zenon Konopka.
There we go.
Beat people up and win face-offs, and got a rule change because he would purposely fall and push the puck.
Yeah, he was so good because he was cheating that the league was like, okay, what you're actually doing has to be illegal. So that now there is a rule that if he was back in the league today and restarted his career, he would be a terrible face-off man because he just couldn't. Yeah, but anyways,
he was a goon who won face-offs. But yes,
tremendous.
But when you look at this team, and I think that this Olympic tournament has sort of hammered home the top end skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Boldy has been great, Eriksson Ek's been great, Quinn Hughes is off the charts. And so you look at all of those things. I think the question, a fair question, becomes what could cost you instantaneously. And my responses are goaltending, which is sort of uncontrollable. You're not but face-offs aren't. And that is why I don't know what the trade is. I don't know what the expense is. I don't know where you draw a line on that expense, or because you have Quinn Hughes, you simply don't. But to me, face-offs is the glaring among the skaters. It's the glaring thing that I see is just you have to win them. And the Wild just, Eriksson Ek tries hard, but they flat out do not win enough faceoffs. And I think in March, okay, that's not great. You guys, I think in April or May, knock on wood, if you get the chance to play in May, it bites you right in the ass, big time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at some of the like key plays from what we've seen over the past, 8 hours of hockey here today. It's important face-off wins that lead to power play goals, or you're facing a bad penalty kill. Maybe somebody has to sprawl out and you trip a guy or whatever. You win that face-off, you dump it down. And we've seen this for the Wild because before acquiring Quinn Hughes, they struggled so heavily to get into the offensive zone. They lose that face-off. They get dumped down. Okay, now we're going to make an attempt. Oh, we turn the puck over. Let's dump it back down. And now before you get even set up and you're thinking about offense, you got 40 seconds left in that power play. Matt Boldy and Kirill Kaprizov hadn't had the puck in the offensive zone. Like, it's that important. And then, in overtime, obviously 3-on-3, that extra point that you could potentially earn is going to go a long way, because that could be the difference on the final day of the season, where you either get home ice advantage in the first round, or you don't against the Dallas Stars. Or maybe you have, fingers crossed, a chance, a sliver of hope to catch the Colorado Avalanche. That point or two here and there really cost you. And faceoffs go back to being the key root of things. So it all starts there.
Well, and it's helpful. There's a spotlight on the faceoffs because you have the elite wingers on either end too, that you're winning that drawback, and they have that shot where it's like boom, boom, bang, score, right? In so many situations where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is kind of fun. You've got this going on. Oh, shout out Barb Rule, the Rule family. We love the Rules. I know she loves
great.
Miko.
Oh yeah,
They're fantastic.
Yeah,
love it. But
we
yeah,
differ on that a little bit.
Yeah, on the Miko.
Well, yeah, just get the number down from the rafters, but that's a different topic for another day. Yeah, so that is key. And the Dylan Larkin goal to open the scoring in the second period of today's game, you know what that was? That was, as they described on TV, that was a set play, and that was a set play the Wild could easily run.
Yeah.
And they probably do run, because that's win the faceoff, back to Quinn Hughes. Now he goes to Jack, who is dropped back from a wing to the high slot. But if you look at that play, like, part of that is because Hughes just moves the puck so beautifully and quickly, right? But if you can get that face-off in a playoff game, like, that's a set play that you can easily run.
Yeah.
And it's effective because it sets up for a tip, which is how Larkin scored his goal, but it also sets up for a rebound. Like, it sets up for a lot of really grade A chances. So those are the type of things that I think in some ways we're talking about. What are the things that you can sort of perfect a little bit more to win you a round, to win you 2 rounds, And
that's it. Like, you replace Larkin with Ek, Boldy's Jack Hughes, and then you have Quinn Hughes, who's legit on your right. Like, it's that exact scenario.
It is.
Shout out to Dylan Larkin though too. I thought this game in particular, he was so noticeable, but we've known what kind of player he is, and he's a guy that I've just always really liked watching. Like, I think he's a great leader. But he goes kind of quiet and goes kind of dark. And I don't think he necessarily always gets the accolades of the behind the scenes stuff that he does too, like the chances he creates and the offense that he does generate. And he finally got a point on the board, but I think he's had a really good tournament too. He's not, on that first line. He's not on that second line. He's playing this role as one of those older guys. And I think Dylan Larkin is another desirable. I'll add him on the Minnesota Wild too. We'll take him if
I think there was talk about that last year, because if I am correct, he's been to the playoffs. I think he went to the playoffs as a rookie in Detroit. He's not been back since, and it's like 10 years now.
Correct.
Yeah. So there was talk about that. And by the way, sign me up in a heartbeat. I love that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now though, with how they're playing, especially too, there's zero chance there.
Yeah, that's
and
like
he's
Buffalo now,
he's Michigan full through and through, right? In every sense of the word. Like, that is his home. That's where he went to college. That's where he went to the NTDP. Everything, like, that's he.
Quinn, from one Wolverine alum to another. Hey,
that Michigan pipeline too.
Thick.
Of players from that school. That hockey pipeline is unbelievable. Yeah. It's phenomenal. God bless the Gophers. Like, I love the Gophers. That's great. That Michigan pipeline is great. Okay, thoughts now after we watched the quarters today. Canada is really, really good. But have your thoughts changed at all about, and yes, I'm going to jump ahead to a potential gold medal game. Have your thoughts changed at all about a Canada-US matchup and your either concern or thoughts about how that game might go if indeed they do meet?
Are the wheels shaky on Jordan Binnington is the biggest question, right? Like, is he a little rattled? Now, he made some huge saves to get them into over. Like, toward the end, he did what Jordan Binnington tends to do and really showed up, right? No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But he also allowed Czechia to be in there for a lot longer than maybe he was accustomed to. And again, that's not just on him, but I think that's going to be your key. That's the only way you really can unlock that device. Yes, if they do lose Sidney Crosby, which again, we don't know the status of him after leaving today's game, that's going to hurt them. But you still have Connor McDavid, who again asserted himself as the best player in the entire world. The way that he just absolutely walks around player
and
after player after
Quinn
player, it's incredible, right? Like you have Connor McDavid, that you have Nathan McKinnon. If Connor McDavid is like a little slow, I'm still Nathan McKinnon. And then Matthew Celebrini, like.
Crazy.
Sidney Crosby is a huge piece of that too, but you still have those waves. So I think Jordan Binnington, if you could, which we know the Kachchuks could easily get in that noggin of Jordan Binnington's, and I would love to see that. I think that's going to be your key should these two teams advance and make it to that final gold medal round, is getting Binns' head, rattle the hell out of him, because if he becomes even a little shaky, it's over for Canada, I think, because he's not going to stop a beach ball at that point.
I feel more confident, not like overly confident, but I feel more confident in USA's ability to beat Canada now, just based on how I saw them perform today. Sweden doesn't have the firepower, and frankly, the coaching probably held them back a little bit than what you're just seeing with Cooper in Canada. But the system and the team defense that I saw from USA today makes me think that if they could just squeak one, maybe two past a Jordan Binnington in a gold medal game, I'm not saying they could lock it down forever, but they could lock it down potentially long enough, depending on when those goals come, to where, especially if they're missing a Sidney Crosby, they get they force Canada to have to play, their third defensive pairing. Not that they're bad by any means, but it's not like Cale Makar out there. You can exploit it a little bit. They might be able to pull this off. I mean, I thought Canada was just going to run away and take might as well just box it up and ship gold back to Ontario by all means by now, but I actually think that it's going to be a lot closer than I maybe anticipated it to be.
Who gets in? I don't know this rule. I guess I've never really thought about it. Who gets last change on IHF? Is it go to your higher seed, or like how do you get that?
I think it is the higher seed.
So well, actually, no, not anymore.
Nope, Canada.
Canada is higher seed because they went to overtime. Okay, so because that would be, you'd want to obviously get that matchup. You want to have that. That's going to be so imperative. And you saw, I think, the confidence. You're right, Age today. You saw it from kind of your unlikely heroes, the Dylan Larkin. It wasn't the Kachchuks out there making a ton of noise. It wasn't Gensel. It wasn't Boldy. It wasn't Austin Matthews. They were doing their part and they were doing phenomenal, but those points eventually came from lower down your lineup. So getting that matchup would be crucial to American success.
Let's just say that the Canadian team deploys much of the potential game we're talking about with Celebrini, McKinnon, and McDavid. Who do you want out there against them? The Eichel line with the Kachchuks? Fight fire with fire?
Yeah, because Eichel's so good at.
That's what I was going to say.
Right? Like gives you your best opportunity to win that draw every time.
And I'm just trying to think of, I don't want the Matthews line. I mean, Bolds would be okay, but Gensel's a scorer, and Austin Matthews, I don't know about that. The third line is whom? I've got it right here. The third line is Tage Thompson, Larkin, and
Hughes.
Clayton Keller.
It was Clayton Keller, but then he got replaced by Hughes. At one point. But I think I would have to go 1v1. I think I would have to use the Eichel line, and it might cost me a bit, but if I don't slow that line, then I'm just going to lose by 3 goals.
I think you have to. Just the mentality that the Kachchuk brothers bring, like, I think they're more than fine if you tell them, hey, before the game, guys, it's awesome if you score. It'd be great. But more than anything, what I want you to do is lock down McKinnon, McDavid, Celebrini.
Yeah.
I think, frankly, he's a fantastic player. I think that they could use the Kachchuk powers to get in the head of young Macklin Celebrini to where he's not going to be, he's still a wonderful player, but they can maybe have him take a step off. I don't know if those guys can hang with McDavid though. Like if he just gets around him, they're gone. He's gone.
The Kachchuks are dogs with bones, right? That you can't shake them. Like that's what's going to be so great about them. The interesting thing is too, and I don't know how much this plays into it, how limited the Kachchuks are in seeing the McKinnons and the Celebrinas being East versus West. Do you think that plays a factor? Or am I stretching too much as far as like the consistency and like what you know of McKinnon and what you know beside, as far as actually having played against them? Do you think that's important at all? Eichel has, right? Eichel has seen Celebrini a ton, and he's seen all these guys in the West, but I don't know if that's a factor at all.
And Kachchuk saw McDavid and McKinnon more often with Calgary.
Yep.
Brady, you're right, has spent his entire time in Ottawa. But I think you gotta disturb him. And I just saw a comment that I agree with completely. In doing this too, your defenseman against that potential line has to be Faber and Slavin.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're gonna, and Slavin's real good there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think if you go with those five, deploy those five, you at least have a chance to slow that line down. I'm trying to think of who on that line you can truly frustrate, because it's not a bunch of like hotheads.
Yeah.
I think Connor gets frustrated at times, and McKinnon does, but it can lift him up too. That's a scary thing.
Right.
I can't guarantee that they'll lose their game. I almost feel like they bring their game up then. So, but I mean, this is why I want this game. The matchups in this game are going to be phenomenal.
My fear still is that you're going to get Four Nations Face-Off 2.0, where it's going to get too physical, and it's going to they're going to have to rein it in, and remind, hey, this is the Olympics. You're gone. You're going to the box for 5 minutes.
They did not call much today. I found that to be intriguing. Now, you're right. This might be worse, but I saw that Canada-Czechia game late and an OT turned into a jailbreak, and they just ignored everything.
There were six guys on the ice.
I love that the goal celebration is literally 6 Czechia guys hugging and circling each other.
How do you miss that?
And then the irony that the coach post-game, the Czechia coach post-game is like, oh, it's like we were playing against 6 players out there. And it's like, did you mean to do that? Like, you had to have known there was too many men on the ice for that goal. Like, how the blatant miss on that is wild. And I think it's like you said, you want to let it go, but some of it, we gotta tighten that leash a little bit.
Nate just got hooked on that breakaway he had with 30 seconds left too. And that, I mean, and this is where Judd's point from a different show, which is they don't show the right replays because it's just a centralized thing and it's broadcast picking it up. I would have loved to see that again, because that hook that's a hook by Tate.
Right?
No,
is that the instance I'm thinking of? Because there was one where Kirill got kind of heated, and I think it was because he was avoiding talking to us. He wanted to just focus on the game, but he was like, "That's a penalty shot. Is that not a penalty shot?" And I was
that's the one.
I don't know. Maybe
he was almost far enough, but he wasn't. But it was a 2-minute penalty. But there was a play too in, I think it was the OT, and they didn't show it again, of course. And the replay thing has been awful. It's been just terrible. But there was a play too where the Czechia goalie, it looked like got hit, and he went down, and the play is going on in his zone, and he's down, and then he gets up and he's like, "What are we doing?" And I don't know if he got chicken winged or what, but they just sort of went National Hockey League playoff rules, and when the time was key. And look, I don't want them making calls for the sake of that, so I'm glad that they didn't. But I mean, if you're breaking away and a guy hooks you, and it's like, oh, okay, who cares? That's a problem too. But this goes back to what Age was saying about the potential U.S.-Canada game. What would they call and what wouldn't they call?
Mm-hmm.
And are we going to get away? I mean, my other concern too is, are the Kachchuks going to be smart, or are they going to, because they tend to at times, in this tournament they haven't, I don't think, but the Four Nations, it was at times over the top, to the point where they got themselves hurt. So it's like, you guys still got to play a smart game here. But I mean, that game is full of just great storylines.
that felt probably more of like to them, this is for entertainment. We know we're out here for entertainment,
Maybe.
right? Like we're here, and like
Maybe.
I think this
That was WWE.
it was like they were like, this could be kind of fake. This is a
Royal
little
Rumble.
fake. We're gonna win a medal for the Four Nation. Like I think they're the reason that they are so in line is I think they are taking this incredibly seriously too, right? I think they're just so locked in. Like I said, Brady Kachchuk, that man wants to win at all costs. Like you can see it in the way that he is out there every single shift. I think that's why he has that C in Ottawa. Like he's such a good leader just by the way that he plays. And you can just tell, like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help this team be successful to win. Not saying that Matthew be the one I'm a little more worried about. He's a little bit more chaotic, I think sometimes. Like Brady can be more physical.
They're both
Matthew's
chaotic.
just a little, I think it's because Matthew's got the mouth. Like I know Brady talks too, but Brady's not as chirpy and funny, I think, as Matthews.
Brady's like the ideal soldier. I don't think there's as much going on up top.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say
I
that.
don't care.
Well put.
You know?
It's well put. It's well put.
I think he'd be like, yeah, I'm great at following orders.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and who knows? He could be doing that here very, very soon.
That's why I didn't want to say it, because if I have to go interview the thumb
If
later,
Bill
I
Garrett
don't
and
already
Quinn
know what
Hughes,
he said.
if you call him a meathead, he's never going to find out. And
Yeah.
if he does, he's probably going to be like, yeah, you know what? I am, but I'm a rich one who has won stuff or will eventually. The last thing, Jess. So the Wild is back at practice now. You know, they don't have their entire team back, obviously, because guys are still at the Olympic Games. But what did you glean today as they got back to practice and started to work themselves back into shape after their break?
They all looked like they were in good shape. I mean, it's different because John Hines is obviously over at the Olympics too. So you have Jack Capiano. God, I nailed that name too. Running practice.
Good,
So
good job.
unfortunately, though, as well, I don't feel comfortable necessarily asking him organizational questions. So that being said, I saw with my own two eyeballs Jonas Brodin at the practice facility today. He was not on the ice with the team. He was downstairs in the locker room watching the Canada-Czechia game, and I obviously wasn't going to bother him because he's off limits until he's off IR. It's not a question to ask Jack, like, what's the timeline for Broads?
Right.
The good news is he's here, right, in the facility, in the building. Once Hines returns, we can maybe get a clearer picture of that. I didn't see him. He was sitting, so I don't know if he was really limping around. He had the surgery. He had it in St. Louis where Marcus Foligno had that same surgery. So take with it what you will. But other than that, it was just kind of skating around, a lot of conditioning. Kirill went back to Russia. He didn't go anywhere fancy and sunny. He went to go visit his family. Marc-Andre Fleury was the emergency goalie out there having a great old time. It was great too, because after practice, we're all sitting watching. And of course, Marc-Andre Fleury, the 40-year-old man, is just sitting on the ground watching the game like a little kid. And it's so fun to have him around back in
Oh, he's
action
great.
again. He's just so great. But otherwise, I don't know. Everything else was great. Kirill said he's kind of watching the Olympics. Not really. I spoke with him and Foligno. Foligno's feeling good, had a good break. I don't know. All that. I did ask them if it was easy to go on that break. Like is it going to be difficult? Because they were so hot, right? And you hate to turn anything off when it's running that hot.
Correct.
And Foligno did say, though, a lot of guys were getting pretty beat up and getting kind of tired, without naming names. So I think in that
Wait till the
essence,
playoffs. Say, Marcus, wait till the playoffs, buddy boy. If you want to make a playoff run, guess
we
what?
were happy. We were watching games, and I did have to give Marcus crap too, because he cheered when Canada scored, and I had to remind him that you're an American too. Or he chooses Canada. His brother chooses the U.S., I guess. But
Is that how it works with him?
yes, Nick's for sure all in on USA because he's represented the U.S., and I think Marcus has done Canada once. But yeah, he forgot.
So he forgot, but
Where he
the
tried to
flowers
play
through
for
and
Italy
through
too, so he's kind of all over.
Yeah, what was that about? He
was
tried to
great.
get on the Italian team.
Yeah, him and Nick did, because Italy being granted a team because they're hosting, right?
Yeah.
They were saying with descendants you could, and so him and Nick went through a little bit of an application process, and ultimately were told nay. And he's like, all right, I guess we'll go to Mexico instead. So.
Well, that's like the World Baseball Classic, I think last year or 2 years ago. It was the same thing where Italy was fielding a team and they're like, we got nobody. So you got these MLB players that are like, my mom's dad was like half Italian. Can I please? Yeah, we'll take you. You hit 284 last year.
Polino's grandma is like from Italy, I think. Like his dad's directly,
That's cool.
from there. So I think he's pretty close, but no
Polino.
dice.
I'm
But
glad
that's
you
all I
didn't
learned. There were no lines. There was a lot of guys missing. I don't know. There was just a lot.
Yeah, and what like 4 guys called up from Des Moines. Is that right?
Yep, Kierstead. But he's the only one. The other guys were kind of I don't say newcomers, but you haven't seen them recalled, and you're not likely to see them play in action. Yeah, because I was still competing and still playing. So Tyler Pitlick's still down there. Hunter Hate's still down there, like the guys that you're used to seeing. But they had a couple of those guys recalled up here earlier today just for practice. Now, the other interesting thing of note, too, is that the guys that were in the Olympics, so Nico Sturm, obviously eliminated. Now you got Ecker, Gus, Wallstead, and Johansson. They will get some time off. They're not going to be at practice tomorrow. They're probably not going to be there Friday. From what I understand, they get to kind of choose when they want to come back and rejoin the team, because obviously they've been working out. They've been doing all of the things. So it's not overly concerning to rush them in, but just take that with a grain of salt, obviously, is they won't be rejoining. I would maybe expect to see them, I think, next week early, because obviously they have a game coming up too. So
when's your first game back?
Next Tuesday or next like Wednesday, right? Something like that.
Is that right?
It's
Thursday, February 26th. They start off hot with the Avalanche.
The Avalanche in Colorado. Their final meeting with Colorado, I think, too, of the season, at least of the regular season.
I want Gustafsson back tomorrow. I want Johansson back. I think he played in one game tomorrow. I'm going down. Look, Eriksson Ek, Boldy, Quinn Hughes come back on Monday. That's fine.
Yeah.
But there's certain guys I want back, like post haste, because I got to work with them now.
They won't be. So,
Well, that's again, this is a problem. This is a problem. Are we trying to win? Are we trying to win international tournaments or a Stanley Cup? Because last time I checked, if these guys win gold, there's not going to be a parade in town here. If you win a Stanley Cup, you get the parade in town. Okay? Sure. So we're trying to win. We are trying to win a Stanley Cup here. But this is fun hockey, so don't get me wrong. 3 or 4 games in OT. Oh, my God. Incredible. Absolutely. All right. We are done for now. But, of course, JHS never disappears. There's always stuff to talk about. And we certainly will be back very, very soon. Thanks again to Jessi. Does a fantastic job. If you are not watching Bar Down Beauties with her and Kirsten, make sure that you do. They have guests as well. Some great guests. And, of course, reader coverage of the Wild, NHL.com. And AJ, well, he is a jack of all trades, co-hosting, producing for Thor. It's incredible. And then I come along for the ride and watch a lot of hockey on my couch. But that's what makes my life so special. We'll see you later.